But I was just so excited with what I received today, and I kind of got backed up with a lot of things. I know the lighting ain't too perfect in the room right now. I'm not really set up in my studio. I'm set up in my bedroom because everyone's kind of going to sleep at the moment. But I was just so excited. I just could not wait to open this up. So I decided, you know what? Let's set up my whiteboard on my bed, and let's use this as our platform to demonstrate what we have. And yes, my bed is waist height. But let's get to work. So, what we're reviewing today is the mBot Mega. This is the box it came in. First off, it comes in an Amazon box because I ordered it off Amazon. But then this is the what the box looks like now. I guess this bot is supposed to work with Scratch and Arduino C programming. So, if you don't know Scratch, it's kind of like a code block type thing. Along with this, I also did order the Bluetooth controller setup as well, which works with this. So I guess it's supposed to pair through Bluetooth to where you can use this to control this like a video game in a way. It kind of looks like a Xbox controller in a way, other than the fact that you got kind of a PlayStation style down here, and then you got, because usually on Xbox is I believe you usually have the wobbly joystick over on this side. But this one don't matter. Let's go ahead and open this up and take a look on the inside. So first thing you'll be greeted with is a little manual here, and this manual kind of shows the assembly. So kind of first off, I think the first page shows more parts and stuff, and then yeah, so it's going to be an assembly process. I don't know if I'll do that tonight. We'll see. Next up, we got this orange box here. Doesn't really say exactly what it is. Let me try popping it open. Wonder. Okay. So first thing we got here, let's pop this open. Looks like we got some anti-static bags. It looks like we got I don't know what that is yet. Looks like a little sensor of some type. GVS, so CK019, it's PCB0005. So it looks like everything comes in a static bag. Got another one. So this seems to be all our small components. Looks like a little pressure sensor. Infrared detection. Another pressure sensor. Infrared. Another infrared. This says digital RGB LED module. RGB LED module, so I guess light. Another one. So 2 RGB LED modules. Alright. And then I guess this looks like motor controllers. Kind of looks like an H-bridge in a way. I think when I was reading about this earlier, this looks like this would be our motor controls. And then this is our main brain, I guess. The description kind of says it might have Raspberry Pi functionality. So if you've had a Raspberry Pi, I believe this is supposed to function like that. There's actually even a big Bluetooth module right there as well. So pretty interesting. So there's the parts from the orange box. Let's have a look at this yellow box here. This one feels a little heavier. Might be some body pieces. Okay. stuff we got in here. Okay, so this seems to be the motor controls and stuff. So these are, seems like these would be the wires that go to all the sensors. It's kind of like a servo wire. So if you know like servos, that's kind of what this wire looks like. It's 3-pin connectors. Got the German colors of black, red, and yellow. Next up we have our 4 motors. So these are our motors that we'll be driving. And if we go back to these, yeah, it don't quite look like it matches up. So these might be something else. I'll have to look into those. But these are our motor drivers here. So the H bridge must be somewhere else. Then we have a battery pack. This battery pack has space for 6 batteries, so 9 volts. And then you got like the top shell cover, and I guess this is what's going to protect the electronics. I guess this is the top piece here. So this thing. Okay. Next up out of the box, you got the blue box, and I guess this is going to be the main body, and this is going to be where most of your assembly is going to be happening. Okay. All right. So this looks like all our main body parts. Looks like we got some good hardware here. You got looks like a little torque wrench here. That's kind of interesting. It's like an odd-shaped wrench. I don't know if you can see it that well. Yeah, so you got like a weird wrench there. Got a lot of washers. I think it's supposed to have a screwdriver in here too somewhere. A really interesting screwdriver too, because I think it was supposed to be like a transforming one. Not really seeing it in there. Got a USB to USB-A to USB-B for programming. Here's our screwdriver. And what's interesting about this one is it is like a really small Phillips head there. So one end you have a Phillips head, the other end you have a really thin hex wrench. I can't quite tell the size of it, but it's a little hex wrench on one side, Phillips head on the other. So I guess we'll be dealing with Phillips and hexes. And then first set of tires. These are omnidirectional tires, so what's really cool about these is if they're all going the same direction, the bot will move forward, all going backwards, it goes backwards. If you have the front wheel and the back wheel going opposite of each other on both sides, so the front wheels are going forward, the back wheels are going backwards, it'll cause it to drift one direction or the other. So that's what's really cool about them. This looks like some side plating, so the sides of the bot. And this looks like the main body shell. So main body shell. There actually says make block on it right here. It looks like some of these points actually even have like markings on them. I'm guessing as a guide for during the assembly. So there's like a little hex marking there. I see a round marking here. So it's like marking holes. Not too sure why this one isn't marked though. So this might be a special hole. We'll have to see. Another thing that seems to come in this package looks like it's a big old sheet of paper here. So I guess it's like a giant poster map is what it comes with. So let's see. Okay, so it's like a big oval. So a big make block oval. So I guess you can program the bot to do like line following. So you part of some of those sensors that are in there. I don't think it's the infrared motion sensors, but there's certain sensors. They're supposed to track the lines, so it can just constantly go around the track. I also see 3 holes here, or like 3 circles drawn on here. I don't know what those are for. but can't really see them with the light, but there you go. Kind of looks like there, and one there. So we'll fold this up for now. Put this back in the box. I'd say while we're at it, since it's related, let's go ahead and take a look at the controller too, get a feel of that, see what it feels like. See if it kind of feels like a genuine Xbox controller or something a little different. Okay, so first thing I notice is this has a plastic shell on the inside. So there's like a little plastic there. I'm going to pull that out. Alright. And I think there's a manual in here too. Make block. Yeah, for consumers who recover this, just the protection rights and stuff. Go ahead and throw that back in there. I don't care for that. But here's our controller. Now this thing, it feels like really, really smooth plastic. Like this plastic feels uber smooth. I kind of say based off of size, it kind of feels a little odd compared to an actual Xbox controller. For one, you don't have the bottom triggers. You do have two sets of triggers though. So you have like like your main trigger, then you got an extra trigger. So 4 triggers on the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have the Bluetooth pairing button. You have like a function button, a plus sign button. You got the typical cross hairs button. Functionalities. And then it looks like this will take 2 batteries. So I see 2 AA's here. And then let me see if this side pops off too. Yep. So it looks like it takes 2 AA's. What's weird, I've never seen this before, is it's actually like where the grips are. So where I grip here, the battery sits right there. So 2 separate batteries are required. So it's going to take 3 volts of electricity, not a lot. And then nice little safety feature is they help prevent you from putting these back on the wrong side by kind of offsetting the clip a little bit. So I was trying to put this one on this side, but they kind of offset it to prevent that, which is pretty smart, I'd say. On-off switch on the bottom. Currently it's stuck in the on position. I'll flip it to the off position. So there you go. That's the Make Block controller. There's also some other button here that seems to be for a clip. So I guess you can... There's this button right here where my thumb is that I can push in on, and it's kind of opening up a gateway down here. So I guess there's something you can clip on the back of this to like probably hold on to or something. I don't know. I'll have to look into that, but yeah, it's I'd say it's pretty accurate for what it's going to be doing. I'd say given the time. Oh, here's the manual. Manual was hiding underneath the plastic thing, so I pulled this out, and the manual's sitting right underneath it. So let's see what this has to say. User guide, master module, slave mode. So it looks like you can use this for programming a lot of stuff. Like, I see here. So it looks like it would work with an mBot, so the smaller predecessor to the mBot Mega. Because a lot of the pictures are showing the mBot on here, which is kind of a little different model from this. This is more the advanced model. The mBot is like $60. Meanwhile, this one is like $130, but that was for the controller as well. Looks like you program it through your phone and stuff too, just like a normal mBot would. Yeah, that's pretty much the unboxing process. I kind of feel, even though it is kind of late at night for me right now, I usually don't fall asleep until midnight half the time. I feel like what I want to do right now is actually build the body, just to show the final build. and show the process, because I got a friend that they were kind of questioning this thing. They were wondering what all it does. Um, but I feel for this video, we did an unboxing. How about we actually do an assembly as well? We'll show me assembling this whole build. So this could be kind of time consuming, might be fast, we'll see. So let's go open this up. So we see we got the body shell, we got the upper shell, motor brackets, which is this bag here. Let's actually pop those out real fast because I think those are the first step. Ooh. So battery holder bracket, so I guess this is going to hold on to the batteries. The main bracket, so the motor brackets. I think it's supposed to be built like it's a tank or something, so I wonder. How these line up. Going through here. Oh, this is the top. What am I doing? Here we go. Take this. Well, kind of wondering how those are going to go on there. Unless if they kind of sit on there in a weird way, because they don't seem to quite fit well. I mean, I guess probably they'll sit more down here like this. Doesn't seem like it actually connects right. This is kind of odd. That's something to be discovered here soon. So it looks like the parts that it came with, you had 3 IR proximity sensors. The Mega Pi is what they reference the brains. So the control board, they reference being a Mega Pi. So I guess it's supposed to be like an Arduino mixed with a Raspberry Pi, probably. The Bluetooth module, which is already in the board, so we're not installing that. DC motor drivers. So I was right, these are DC motor drivers, but what's weird is the DC motors don't seem to actually connect to it. So I don't know if A, they sent me the wrong heads, or B, I'm supposed to transfer the heads. Does that show it on the DC motor if the motor driver is supposed to look like? Nope. And plus these DC motors are black instead of yellow like the pictures show. So usually the pictures always show it's a yellow motor, but these ones are black. Okay, so I guess let's open this up. And there's our first look at the Raspberry. There's our Pi module. I'm guessing probably the motors plug in over here, probably somehow. I see port 1, 2, 3, 4, so probably this is where all the motor drivers plug in. But I only see 2 of them. Should there be 4? Well, looks like there's only 2 in the picture, so let's pop out the motor drivers, because that's what it's saying to do. And it looks like to prevent confusion, what it does is it actually, I've never seen it like this before, it actually has stems on one side and then sockets on the other. Kind of odd, but also it's color coded too to help prevent that as well. So interesting, I'd say. So it looks like it's going there. Let's see, put it like this. So port 1 is motor module 1. I guess power would be going in here and then out there. I don't know. Let's take motor module 2. Put that on. Okay, so both the motor modules mounted. Next up would be the Bluetooth, but apparently it came with the Bluetooth already pre-installed. Why, I don't know. Probably because the positioning of the pins, probably people were putting it on backwards, but I mean, this one has 3 pins, this one has 4 pins, so Not too sure why they did that. Next, it looks like we're going to do some hardware work. So we need the shell and the M4 screw. Are these things already pre-treaded? I don't see any treads. I might actually. Yeah, I think it's treaded. Okay. Well, let's open up. Oh boy, look at all these goodies. So we got the, I'm guessing this is probably for the motors. Seems like some sort of weird cover thing. We got little rubber caps here. Let's also open up our screwdriver because this first one's going to rely on screws, I guess. So, and what's cool with the screwdriver, like I said, is one goes in like this. So we got our screwdriver, or you can pop it out and flip it around. Now we got a hex driver. Okay. I'll take me a screw. Well, we need 1, 2, 3. Yep, same 3 spacers and 3 screws. So 1, 2, and 3. Reseal these for now. Let's get a spacer. One, 2, and 3. Reseal that. And these are using the hex head, so we'll have to pop our screwdriver around. Check how our hex fits here. Nice and solid. Perfect match. Now, one thing to note, you have a front side and a back side. The back side kind of looks like an angry face. Front side, it's a big happy smiley guy. So, looks kind of like if we're have my smiley guy facing me, we're going to have the USB controller sitting on this side. So I'll take this, pop a screw through, we'll pop our spacer through, and then pop this on. Get her started just with the 2 little turns. There we go. Then we can take this one, put that here. And this one should go right over here. Careful not to tighten too tight or else you might destroy your board. So just get it to where it's just got that right snug fit. Just where it starts feeling a little tight, and then just stop. So I'm trying to get it to where it's just touching, and I just feel like a little bit of snugness. Okay, so there's our first step there. Next step, it's showing us to install the infrared sensors. So let's get an infrared module out. What's interesting is it seems that these are going to be installing on the outside, and they're going to rely on a nut and a screw. So I'm going to guess these ones here. So we need a nut, a screw, and a washer. And we're going to install 2 of these cards, so I'll just grab 2 of each immediately because that's what it's saying. So 2 screws. I'll need 2 of the washers, or plastic spacers, whatever you want to call them. And 2 nuts. And I'll also grab our little odd wrench. I kind of love this thing. It's kind of interesting. You have 3 different size screw holes. So you have a 6.5, a 7, and then I'm not too sure what the 2 smaller ones are here, but you got 4 different sizes. So let's see if this will fit the. Okay, so these are going to fit the 5.5 millimeter. Okay. So I'll go ahead and take this first one. I'm going to pop the screw head through. Followed by the spacer. Put that right on there. Okay. Hold this in place for a second while let's make sure this is a Phillips. Alright, so there's our first one. Let's get our second one ready. So the second one, pop out of the bag. Okay. Alright, so there we go. There's our sensors now installed. So you can see that. Okay, let's go to the next page. Next page, it looks like it's going to probably be motor brackets. But first we got to put some more sensors on them. So this one's going to be, looks like our line following sensors. And our, whatever the other one is. So, let's see how this is installed here. So, it's this here. This one bag seems to have been sealed backwards because the tear was backwards on it. So for some reason, okay, so I see what's going on here. So this is going to be down. So I'm guessing this is supposed to be the top of this. And then, okay. So this looks like it's only showing nuts and screws, like we're just directly mounting it. It's kind of hard to depict exactly how exactly it wants it. But it kind of seems, say if I had it going this way, now it's going right here in the middle. So they want us to install it like right in the middle like that, I guess. Seems like it'd be a little low to the ground, depending on how big these wheels actually are. So, yeah, that's kind of accurate. That would make sense. All right, well, let's get more screws. So this time we'll grab 4 screws and 4 nuts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 and 4. All right. So I'll put this. I'm gonna put it right here. Pop that through there. Hopefully I can get this to hold still for a few seconds while I try screwing it in. Okay. Try popping this on there, see if it'll fit. Yep, it fits. Okay. So there's our first light sensor installed. Okay. And I got it like it's on this side. Do the same on this one. We're gonna take the light sensor right there. I'm guessing this actually might not be a line following sensor. This might actually be a just an infrared light. Or I'm sorry, not an infrared light, just a light module. Because it says RGB module, so I'm guessing from it saying that, it's actually going to be a little thing that's going to light up our bot. So probably like if we're doing a competition or something, you can color our bots to be blue or red or green or whatever color our team is. Because you could kind of fix these up to be battle bots and try playing a game of wrestling, either autonomously or through through the controller. So if you want to get into battle bot or sumo bots, then that's kind of one thing you can do with these. And these are face soldered instead of through soldered. Okay. Next thing, we have our impact switch. Again, it seems to be packed backwards there, because this is where it was sealed. I usually would expect the notches to be where it was sealed at. And this looks like it's going from the bottom. So it's going on the inside this time. Instead of being on top, it's going on the inside. So kind of looks like it shows even over here, it shows like the screw is coming up through the bottom like this. Okay. And so if you don't know what an impact switch is whenever it bumps into something, it's going to close the circuit and cause the signal to pass through, just like a normal light switch, except this only works when something touches it. So it's used on a lot of 3D printers too. If you have a 3D printer, then you've seen one of these. There's one more impact switch right here. Again, it looks like it's packaged backwards. I really expect notches to be on the sealed side, not the fold over side. Okay. And again, it goes through like this. Alright, so there we go. Here's our two sides. Okay. Next up, it looks like we're on the motors now. And the motors are going to be a little different because the motors are going to have these really long screws here. And then it's also going to be using those bolts that we've been using. So let's pop open a motor here. Guess we'll start with two. I guess it's going to be doing saying 4 motors, but then it says 4 screws and 4 nuts, so it's only showing the 2 motors right now. So partially it's because it's saying to do it 2 times. This is a typo though, because you're saying to use 4 motors, but then you're only saying to use 4 screws. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're doing this twice, your count's off. So there's a kind of a big oopsie on their part. Engineer didn't quite specify that, like he specified that you need 4 motors, but then he only specified I needed 4 screws. So generally in assembly, 4 screws would be a no-no, because we're not putting 1 screw on each motor. So I know what they're saying here, but part of an unboxing or a build video is to actually point out the errors you see. Okay, so we're going to take out 2, 4, 6. Okay, so we'll take 2 out at a time because we have exactly 8 of these for the motors. So I'll just take 2 out at a time per motor. Okay, there we go. I'll put these motors over here. Okay, first motor. It looks like the way the motors are set up is they're going inside. So you're going to have the part that actually has the motor sitting down here. Meanwhile, the gearbox is going to be sitting outward. And then there's even like a little alignment notch here. So these motors have like a little notch here. You can't really see it because of the lighting, but it'll line up with a hole that's on here. So just gotta settle it in. Perfect. Got it to fit. Now I'm going to take the long part of the screw, hook that through. On the other side here, I'll meet it with a bolt, or I'm sorry, a nut. Okay, got it started. Do the same over here. Hook her through. Put that nut on. Okay, I'll go ahead and take this and tighten this up some. Alright, so first motor's mounted. Okay, there's how it goes on the other side. Let's take another motor. All you're going to do is just take it, plop it on opposite of the way the first one is. So again, with the motor part actually in the middle, so the DC engine's in the middle. Meanwhile, the gearbox is on the outside. Hook that through. And I forgot to grab my nuts and bolts here. Okay, I'll take this one, poke her on through. This one. Okay, so 2 motors already in place. We'll go ahead and get the next 2 here. And again, get the motor. All right, one more motor. Looks like we still have 2 screws to spare. Probably they'll come in later. We'll see. Grab one too many nuts there. Okay. And just get the motor in place. Pop the screw. Start the nut. Okay, there we go. So the 2 side pieces seem to be done at the moment. Got our motors in place there. Looks like the next big thing is to add the wheels. So here's our wheels, and looks like this box here, this bag here, I'm sorry, or no, this bag. Yeah, this bag. So this bag has some specially made gears that it looks like you'll put it onto the motor, and it's got like teeth that'll line up with a motor shaft to help make sure that it actually turns. Okay, just gotta slide it on there. And then I think the next big step is about how it's describing it. Is we take our wheels and with our wheels we're going to play around with them for a second. I just had to. We'll take our wheels and we find the outside, which looks like it has little black markings on it. The inside is just going to be solid red. We're going to get that to line up with this, pop it into place, and then we're going to take one of the screws that are in here with it, and it's a Phillips head, so I can just pop that on, take my screwdriver, my Phillips head, and just screw it into place. And I'd say make sure the wheel doesn't have too much give, because it does feel a little stiff while I'm trying to screw it on there, but while I was doing that I could feel the tires kind of popping out some. Kind of want to make sure it's nice and solid. Okay, so I don't really feel too much give there anymore. Let's do another one. Have the screw. Okay. Motor. Pop that on in there and start screwing again. Okay. There we go. So there's our first motor mounted. And I'm still kind of curious on seeing these things actually put onto here, though. It's kind of what I'm really interested in, is how they're going to fit onto here based off of how these things seem to be. That's like my biggest mystery at the moment. How is it going to actually settle? Okay. Do both sets of motors too, actually. Okay. Another thing I just realized is we do have opposing wheels, and does kind of show to have them going opposite directions. So I think we'll have to see that. I might have a little problem here, because I think this one's supposed to be here, this one's supposed to be here. Or actually, no, this one is supposed to be up here. I'll fix that another day. So, yeah, it does say R and L on here, so I did kind of mess that up. But that's something I can fix later on. Okay, so here's our line tracking sensors here. So, got this piece here. Let's find our line trackers. Oh, there's more screws. Here we go, line tracker 1, line tracker 2. So our 2 line trackers. Now this is going to be, looks like the smaller screw. Let me do one thing real fast. Okay, so looks like this is going to take 2 screws again, and then 2 bolts, and finally 2 spacers. Okay, I'll go ahead and pop these out one at a time as they're getting installed. So here's our first one we have. And it looks like we're just pretty much putting it on the bottom of this bar, 3 units apart from each other. And it's not really lining up too well though, because there's circuitry here, so it's kind of a fault. Let's if I put it the other way, it kind of fits better, because we have a little chip here, and oh, forgot the spacer. Okay, so pop this up through the bottom, then you got the spacer, and then you got this piece here. Okay. Okay, we got another one here. Take this one, pop this out. Let's see. Up through the bottom. Add a spacer. Alright, so there's our line followers. So these are going to be sitting like down on the ground trying to track the color of the ground and decide whether it needs kind of 2 slight motions or not. This looks like it's where we're going to start assembling things. Let's see what's happening here. So this is going to be elevated by these pillars here onto this. So first things first, we have to take this upside down. So these are going to be at the bottom, like this. We want to make sure that we have our triggers in the back. So this one goes here, this one's going here. And then these, got to make sure that the little bulbs are sitting upwards. So this is going to sit on the second one back. It looks like it's supposed to have a 1x8, but I don't see any treading. So it shows that it's supposed to have treading, but I'm not seeing any treads. So we'll just try. It's going to be these ones here. This also is going to be the hex wrench. So you need to pop the screwdriver out and flip it around. See if these actually have a give. No, there's nothing for them to even latch onto. So I don't know what the heck they're thinking here, unless it's supposed to be going on here. Okay, so it's going to pass through. These are going to be underneath. I see now. Okay. So, put this into place. And one downfall is the motor is right here, so I'm pushing up against that motor right now. So I think I'm going to pop this back out, and I'm going to put it all the way to the end, just because I don't want to be pushing up against that motor. Okay. Same on the other side. Just gonna pop the screw through first, and we'll get this hole lined up. Okay, so here's our bottom side now. This is going to be the bottom, so this is going to be flipped over like this later on, and I will fix these tires appropriately because they are in the wrong spots. Next big thing is we're going to flip it over, kind of like I just did. And with it flipped over, we're going to apply these top bolts. So these top machine nuts. And it looks like you got some charted holes here because they're a lot smaller. So I'll go ahead and take this. They call these nylon standoffs, is what they're referencing. So let's see here. Because you have multiple sizes, you have a 20 millimeter and a 30 millimeter, I guess. So I'm gonna hold my finger here. Nylon standoff, so yeah, you have 30 millimeters or 20 millimeters. So this one's calling out for the 20 millimeters, which is going to be the shorter of the two. So just to show you the difference, I have, this is a 20, this is a 30. So get your 20 millimeters for this step, which is the shorter of the two sizes. It looks like they even throw one extra of these in for each of them. I don't know if that's on purpose or if there's going to be a time we'll need it. But it looks like these are going into the third hole. Okay. I'd say just hand tighten them, but I think this will match up. Yeah, so this will match up if you just want to go a little bit tighter, but don't go too tight because these are made of plastic. So just kind of give it just one little snug turn. Okay, there we go on that. Next thing, we're going to flip our page. And this is where the bigger ones are going to come in. So we're going to take these four, set them aside, have them sit like that. And make sure that our line sensor sitting in the front. And then remember the front is the smiley face where it has a little smile down there that you can see. Don't give it the angry eyes. I mean, if you give it the angry eyes, that's up to you. You're just going to not be sure which side's the front, probably. Looks like it just says to set it right on down. Make sure you don't have any cords in your way while you do this, I guess. make sure that you can line up your screw points. Okay, I'll take this one first and pop her on through, see if we can get the first one. So this is lining up with your threads you just did in the previous steps, what we're doing. Yeah, one problem here is the line sensor is sitting on top of that bar right now, so I'm going to undo this for a second. The line sensor is not in place correctly. So this seems to be another ouch on the developer's part. If we go back to the line sensor, it is showing to have it so that it goes on the top side of this, but when I'm trying to mount it, it's not mounting right. These are too tall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and flip this back over. I'm going to undo this real fast. So there's another ouchie on the developer's part, the designer's part, where you're talking about mounting the line tracking sensors on page 9. You need to kind of redesign that, apparently, because it is hitting my top shell while I'm trying to put the top shell in place. So, a little ouchie there. There's nothing wrong with a little ouchie because it kind of makes you think outside the box, think, okay, how are we going to fix this right now? And the answer should be really simple. I'm just going to take this, unscrew these, and this is exactly how they showed it in the pictures. So this is exactly how it shows in the picture. So you're going to have to pop this off again. So if you didn't watch this video, chances are when you got to that next step, you had to do the same thing. So I'll pop that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the bottom of this. So I'm going to go from where the sensor is, I'm going to put the screw in, then I'm going to put the spacer on, and I'm going to put it underneath, like this. Now just for clarity, I want to make sure that it stays below the wheel line. Yeah, it'll be like right at the wheel line. And honestly, a line sensor you do want to have really low to the ground. You want it to be just barely above the ground, like not touching, but just above the ground. So I'll take this again. Yeah, it's just barely right there. Yeah, so it'll be fine. That's about where we want it anyway. So developers of this instructional document, you need to kind of update your drawing and reference to have the screw, have it face up like this. Screw goes through the side with the sensor, and then spacer, and then into the crossbar. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and try remounting this on here. Okay, this one goes over here. we go. Our situation has been fixed. I'm going to take these motor cords, I'm going to tuck them in the middle here for now. We'll be able to reach under, get those later, and get them adapted better. So yeah, there we go. So that's in place. Now we're going to take this cover, make sure our smiley face is going where these are, and set it into place. Once again, take these, we're just screwing them right through. One thing I like to do is just get each one started and then go through and finalize the rest. Okay. So I just had to jump back 2 pages in order to make that fix. I mean, even on page 10, it still shows that it's on the bottom like that. If I pay attention now, these things are just barely above the surface, and I have more than enough space now for them to actually sit there. So developers, do your part, and you're going to have to fix that. Okay, so we did the page 10, 11, and 12. Now we're on page 13, and this one has a, looks like a color sensor on the, or one of these sensors on top. So I'll take this one, pop this off. There we go. And then looks like it's going with a spacer and a nut and a bolt. So we need one nut, one spacer, and one bolt. So I grabbed a bolt or a screw, however you want to pronounce it. I'll grab me a nut, a spacer. Okay. And then we're going to go from the top, it goes screw in, and then spacer, and then into the platform. And then into the nut. Honestly, this is a situation where I would expect to have a washer involved as well because of how much space there is. If I don't quite get this quite in the right spot right now, chances are it'll fall right off. Okay, again I gotta flop my screwdriver back around. There we go, so our top is done. Now we're going to go to the next page here, and the next page is kind of getting our wires all up in a bunch. So how to get our wires distributed. So connect all electronic modules with the MegaPi for specific connection methods, blah blah blah. So first off, all the motors are going to the back side here. So I guess we'll take, we'll flip this over for a second. We'll get all our motor power cords. We'll poke them through the back opening. We'll take our 2 on the left here first. And I guess we'll have these 2 going into slot 1 and 2. Like so. Okay, we'll flip it back over here. We'll get the other 2 cords from the other side. Got slot 3 and slot 4 here. Honestly, where you put these at, wherever you're putting these right now, don't worry if they mess up, because what you can do is you can pop the roof back off and fix that. So if you notice the motor's going the wrong direction, all you have to do is just take the top cover off. So take this off and then just switch around your motors. So you pull the motor out, switch it around. That's all you're going to do. Or you can figure out where they're assigned to and adjust your code accordingly. So like we could have motor 1, motor 2, motor 3, motor 4. Well, I don't have it going 1, 2, 3, 4. I have it going probably 4, 3, 1, 2. So just figure out how your motors are assigned. You'll assign a variable and then you can figure it out from there. Next up, we have servo interface, and that's going to be all our signals here. And I guess you can also add servos and other features later on. Right now it's doing servos. So you have SIG, 5V, and ground. So it goes in, VCC, GND. So let's pop these off here. If you don't remember, every single one of your sensors all have these same color codes. Generally from this end, what you need to understand is black is going to be your ground, so black is GND, red is VCC, and yellow is going to be your signal line. So if it says here, it says in VCC GND, so I'm going to go black, red, yellow. So whichever one is in, that's going to be my yellow. Okay, so this one's ready to go. I can pop this through for wire management, and then when I get this put into place, I can just snap that on and then push this down. We've got the two side sensors here. We can either snap it on and then feed it under and then up through here. So I can go, let's see, N is yellow again. So that goes, black is always ground in this. So I'll just pass this through. See if I can instantly pass it through on its own. There we go. So there's our cord there. And let's see if it gives me channel assignments. So it looks like whatever's closest to this is channel 1, is the lowest channel. And luckily the colors all line up too, so we can just pop it right on in there. So there's our first one connected. We got another one here. And is yellow again. Okay, like that. Let's go to these bottom sensors here. Okay, so we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sensors on the bottom. We'll start with our color sensors, which this kind of makes it challenging now because we have to do that flip around. Now I can't see the labels. So let's see if we can find information on how they were labeled. Generally, every single one of these I'm seeing ground being over here. So if I imagine this being flipped over, ground is over here. I could probably poke my eyes through here. See if I can get a light in there. Take out my phone, flash the light in there. So ground is all the way over on this side. There we go. I'll just pop both of those through. I'll have it sitting on its back. Okay. Then I take this, we'll poke it through here. Now generally you're going to want to have your own little diagram of this just to make sure that you know where you're putting all your things into. So address every single sensor accordingly. Right now I'm just blindly popping them in. Eventually I'll play around with them and get them redesigned, relaid out as needed. A nice little trick you can pull for when you're trying to get these programmed is you can probably pop one off at a time and then take a multimeter. You're going to put the multimeter from the yellow cord, plug in on one end of the yellow cord, and then go to the other end of every yellow cord and tap the in port and see if you get a feed. So just take a multimeter. I'll pop this one off. I'll put the multimeter head on the yellow cord on this end, and then I'll put it on, say, this one here, and I'll see, do I get a feed? If not, then that's not my one. I'll go to another one. Oh, there's my feed. I can write down that the front right sensor is in slot 1. But the best thing to do is while you're doing this, write down everything. But here's another thing, page 16. So here it's saying, connect all electronic modules with mBot. Please refer to the following page. So the following page just tells us the high power outputs, the power switch being on and off, high power, DC supply, blah, blah, blah. So this doesn't give me addressing, but the next page after that actually tells me, okay, which one goes where. So IR proximity 1 goes into A6, which I have already. Proximity sensor 2 goes into track 2. So the third one should be another sensor, so we should probably take those two line followers that I just did, pop those out. Line tracking is going to be A9 and A10. So that's going to be the next two. So we're going to skip one and then put these two in. So number 3 is going to probably be my top middle one here. So if you see how I have a gap there, you can't really see it that well, but there's a gap right here. What I'll do is when I'm putting this on, I'm going to pop it on there and then let it sit. Okay. So the next two would be the impact switch, which is these ones back here. Luckily I could see their port, so I'll put them like this. Okay, take this, we'll pass it through here. Pass through our little wire mess. Spaghetti monster. Okay. Again, try to get those in there the best you can. Let's see if we can get it. Okay. There we go. And then next thing we have is the RGB lights. So these two things in the middle here. And we do have one more little servo switch here, which I'm not sure what that one's for because we got all our things hooked up pretty much. There you go. So the next page is actually to define like better where all the sensors should be. So A7 honestly should be the top middle one. I put it in the third slot, so probably I could fix that some. Impact switches, so it does better define everything down here. I don't care right now, it's kind of more of an engineering project to have fun with. Motors, it is telling me how to map the motors on here. So, yeah, we got everything all tied up right now, so everything's been put into place. All we have to do now is we just got to put our top cover on. Once we have that top cover on, we got to make sure there's space for our battery somehow, which our battery sits right here in the middle. So we're going to have a little fun time with that with all these wires in the way. So let me just pop this one in here. Okay. So this is all pretty much set to go. We can figure out how to get this excess cord out of the way. So do your best with your cable management. Don't just flop it all in there. Do the best you can to try to hide everything. This next one looks like we're using these. This will be on the top for our hatch that we're putting on. Another thing is that the screwdriver is also magnetic too, so that's a nice little feature there. Having the screwdriver being a magnet, it really helps when you're in these tight situations where I don't want to hold it here. I want to have the screwdriver holding it, and I just flop it right in when I'm ready. Nothing's better than a magnetic screwdriver. Okay, so the top's in place. It's kind of what our bot's looking like now. Uh-oh. Know what I did? I put this backwards. Plates backwards. Of course that would happen on the last step. Well, second to last step, probably. I think there's still like 2 or 3 more to go. Okay, finally, we get the battery. The battery seems kind of interesting because what you're going to do is you're going to take the battery pack, you're going to find where the cord end is. We're going to have that set up to where, like, it'll be coming out this side, be able to shove right into the power pack port. So what you'll do is you'll screw this in, and then when you're going to put the batteries in, you slide them in, and then you screw them into place. So take it's going to take a total of 3 screws for this, 2 for getting it mounted to the plate, and then 1 to get it into place. So there's my 3 screws. I'll take this first screw. And we're going to have the little lip going towards the side here. Okay, that's in place. I'll take the last screw. What we're going to do is we'll take this. I'm going to put it in place like we're actually using it. It kind of shows to put it in through this side for some reason. I think you can go with either side, however you want to do it. Probably this side's better because the power cord's on this side and you can just pass this through and then pop it into place. So I'll go with it like this. Kind of fun trying to get through that spaghetti monster in there. So try to get it into place. There we go. So you got some centers and stuff you'll have to fight through, but once we did that, it's just a matter of poking her in where she needs to be. I'm sure the batteries being in there, they'll help hold it into place some. Okay, there we go. Here's our power cord. We can pass that through here. And when we're ready to go, you're just going to take it back here and put it into place. Or you can even, I guess, probably pass it through there somehow. It's not looking too easy if you do it like this. It's probably better if you put it in prior to putting it all the way down here because it is going sideways. Yeah, honestly, I think the designer should have put in an earlier step showing how to put this into place. So there we go, we got that done. And that looks like it's all that we have to do. The only other step is to actually go into mBot Mega and write some code. So that's it for this build. This build is done. Took a little bit of time and effort, but we didn't really get to learn what these things are exactly. Unless if these were supposed to be part of the motor thing. These might be like replacement gears probably for the motors in case your gearbox breaks. There's only 2 of these, so let me see if those were listed in the manual or not because I didn't see them. Yeah, those aren't really listed in the manual, so I don't know what they are, why they were given. But also, the wrench in the manual is different from what I actually received. I mean, I do like the socket wrench design more. The socket wrench design, I think, is a little more awesome than the thing they're showing in here. They probably did that on purpose, I don't know. Some of the spacing, I'd have to say, on these, kind of needs to be redone. I mean, you told me to put this on top. I mean, these proximity sensors probably should have been on the bottom and screwed in another way. So where those are, they kind of should have been pushed back. Like, it does tell you to put it in the second slot, but then you got the motor here causing issues. So yeah, but that's our build. I do have to go back and fix these tires, of course, and figure out how to actually get this put in there. Probably just pop the roof off for a minute, get this popped through, probably feed the cord through the bottom port here, and then into the power socket. So there's a few things I have to touch up on my side, but it seems to be pretty good. And another big benefit is they left you a lot of parts here. I'm actually shocked. I think they want this bot to be used in schools and actually be disassembled when you're completed with it. Because look at all these extra parts. We have 3 extra screws that were like these top screws. We have all these extra smaller M4 screws. All these extra bolts. And you got these 2 weird motor kits. You got a lot of spacers remaining. All these spacers. Bolts. Or I'm sorry, your thing. You got 2 extra screws for the motors. Then you have these 2 extra spacers for like the top and the sides. So honestly, you're pretty much set on pieces to where you can actually take this thing back apart and put it in a box, like a tote or something, for next school year or something, or probably for another project. For me, this is more for my demonstrations of STEM, and I would probably be keeping all these pieces like in a bag together so that I don't lose any of them. So pop that in there. I'll take this out. Put you in there. Put you in there. We'll try putting all these extra pieces in this one extra big bag I have. But there you have it. I mean, this is everything I got for everything that you see here that we just went through was $130 on Amazon, or $150 after shipping and all. We have a lot of spare parts, which I've never had so many spare parts. So they were ready for you to lose pieces. Luckily, I didn't lose any pieces, so I can save them for another day. They give you a lot of sensors to play with, and it even looks like you have a little resistance box in there to where we can adjust like the infrared intensity. I do partially wish these were kind of in better locations instead of where they are. I mean, I could probably just take these and put them on the roof here, because these are more like tracking hand motions and stuff, making it do movements. Again, I mean, how bad these things are hanging out back here, the sensors. It's more because of how the motors are mounted. I'm going to try to fix those up somehow. I'm going to probably take the motor back out and then push it back and then put the motor on top of it. So I'll have to do some fiddling around with that. This was just supposed to be like a first time build thing. I've never built this bot before. This is my first time building this bot. I would say the build process for an expert like myself, it took me about an hour. So I would expect for kids in STEM schools, this would probably take them almost 2 to 3 days. And by 2 to 3 days, I'm saying it's almost going to take them like, if they were doing probably 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day, it would take kids about 3 to 4 days probably. So there's things to learn in this. Honestly, I'd put this more at the 8th grade level, probably earlier. I don't know. I mean, beginner robotics for younger generation. I would probably say 6th grade and higher. If you're in 5th grade or lower, then I'd probably suggest the predecessor to this, which is a lot smaller. I forget what it was called, but I believe it has Bluetooth availability as well. It's $60 a piece. This has a lot more sensors and tools to use. It has the ability to where you can actually use a Raspberry Pi, I guess, instead of this. I don't know if this has its own built-in Raspberry Pi functions or not. It'd be kind of interesting if it did, but I don't see like any HDMI ports. It comes with a USB A to B adapter, so we've got a connection there. It came with one extra servo cord, so if we had any damage, we got a spare there. But these cords you can buy really cheap online. I actually have another bot design, which is a full-on robotic arm, and it has really long cords. Honestly, this video truly goes out to DeVry University Online, IEEE. They had presented this bot saying that they wish to request funds from IEEE Columbus to buy, to get a discount for their student members. So they would, student members would buy it, and then they would get like a chunk of the fund in reimbursement. I primarily got it so I could present it at our next meeting for them, just to represent them, because I help out DeVry University Online with their IEEE club. This bot seems kind of fun. I kind of can't wait to get into the programming and eventually make it to where I can take this and drive it around, make it drive normal, probably do spins, probably be able to push both these forward, backward, push them opposites, probably pull them apart. What's it going to do? It's probably going to just stay there, or it's going to, what are they going to do? So one joystick controls the right side, the other joystick controls the other. If I'm using this joystick, then just drive forward and backward and slide left and right, and then use these to make it do turning on a dime. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Probably these functions can be setting it to line following mode, so I can drive it around and get it on top of the line path, and then press 1, it's going to follow the line. Press 2, it's going to be looking for items and trying to avoid them while it races around the track. 3, I don't know, the possibilities are endless. The amount of sensors it has, it's handy. I just don't know about really the proximity switches really being on here, why they're on there. I kind of feel they might be a little overkill, not really needed. I would probably even say you could get away with having these sensors up top here. These could probably go on the bottom in a way. I mean, you kind of would want them in the middle to where they kind of pick up more things in the area. So like if this one, if all three are picking something up, then that means, hey, we got something straight in front of us. If only these two are picking something up, that means we got something slightly to our right. If only this one's picking things up, then we got something else. But also these sensors, when you're doing like a BattleBot situation, like a sumo box, you're going to have these sensors kind of pointed outward some. So they'd be kind of going in a V-like motion. And then when this one picks up our target, then we're just going to charge at it. So I'd say that's enough for this build. We had some fun here. I suggest it for you. Please stay tuned, because tomorrow I do plan to do a demonstration and introduction to the OzoBot, which the OzoBot is really interesting. In fact, this OzoBot is being given to me by my friend Carl Lee. We're going to be working on a big smart city project. And the cool thing is an OzoBot actually has the same abilities as this big beast here. But look at how big this thing is. Uh-oh, I accidentally turned them on. Look at the size of this thing compared to the other one. Look at that. It's so tiny. I mean, you can't see it because of the light, but if I got the lights shut off here, let me try. Okay, so here you go. Here's our Ozobot. So this little guy here is an Ozobot. Look at how big he is compared to my thumb. He is tiny. And look at the size of this guy compared to my thumb. He's huge. But this guy has ultrasonic sensors. He has, well, he's primarily got the infrared sensors. So you have infrared. You got 2 up front, and then there's 2 in the back. I still have yet to decipher everything he has, because as of right now, I only know about those infrared lights. I really want to find a way to where these guys could be able to communicate to our smart city model by somehow transmit, like if it has some sort of camera or a light detection. I mean, the only light detection I know of is on the bottom here, and generally what this is, it's the same as what we have on the front here. So these things here, you have 2 of these. This one has, looks like 7 or 8. Looks like 7. So it looks like it has 7 of these 2 things. So rather than having only 2, this has 7. Might have 8, because I don't know what exactly is in the middle here. But this is supposed to be able to like detect color, follow lines. This thing we are going to have some fun with. So stay tuned, subscribe, hit the like button, and stay in the loop on on my STEM projects that I like to build, and also where we're going to go with this Ozobot, because this Ozobot is the start to a really big project, and we are going to be making a model of Columbus, Ohio, that is either going to be 8 feet by 8 feet, or it will be 16 feet by 8 feet. So the plan is it's going to be a model of the I-270 outer belt. We're going to have the airport. We're actually going to have both of the airport, well, 3 airports that are in that area. We're going to have a lot. So stay tuned. Hopefully, my good little friend Ozzy here, he'll have a good little showing tomorrow. I've only opened him up and take a quick peek at him. I've never played with Ozobots. So I have a discovery to make on how can I teach kids STEM with this little bot. Same with this. How am I going to teach people STEM with this big beast? This little beast is supposed to be like I showed you, it's about the size of a 50-cent coin. How am I going to implement that in this big giant model of a city? And how are we going to make it to where it can actually track traffic lights and stuff? So somehow I need to figure out our programming. I guess somehow there's ways I can actually get it to where if it reads certain code patterns rather than it's building code patterns, because this is supposed to be able to read colors on surfaces. In fact, if you didn't see, it came with several markers. It comes with several markers right here. It's supposed to be able to like change color based off of, or it's supposed to do certain activities based off of color. But that's just stage 1 in the learning the Ozzybots. So Ozobot. So we'll check out the Ozobot tomorrow. Remember, this is $130. If you want to support me, I do not have a Patreon, but I do have a Cash App card, which is the account is Ian Oberdorf. So just simple Cash App, Ian Oberdorf. You can send Cash App to me, and I'd be most grateful. It'd be awesome. But we have some big project coming up.